Welcome to Design for Connection. This is the channel where we discuss the truth about science, psychology, and faith to help you flourish in the relationships that matter most to you. So, I want to talk today about something that is well researched from the Gottman Institute. You can look them up, Gottman. And they talk about they work with a lot of couples and have worked for them for years and have done a lot of research. And one of the things that they say are the four predictors of if a relationship will flourish or dissolve is what they call the four horsemen of the apocalypse. So the four horsemen are things that we all do. They're all in our arsenal of defense and protection, shame protection, really. And so one of them is criticism. So when we criticize our partner, like, God, you cannot get the dishes right. Why didn't you put them over here instead of over here? And it's often in our tone. Sometimes it's not even what we say, it's how we say it, right? So you always are late. Why are you just always late? It's this critical tone, this way of judging the other person and really not connecting. What would be a connecting way of saying all that? Gosh, I really get frustrated sometimes when you show up and you're not on time. It would mean a lot to me if if you'd really work next time to be on time, if not early. That would be about me instead of criticizing the other person, right? So it's a little softer and the focus is on how their behavior impacts me. The second thing that the Gottmans talk about and really found that was the one of the predictors of divorce or dissolving a relationship was contempt. This is a big one. This is a hard one to really, you know, admit, and it's a hard one to be on the receiving end as well. I've seen it a lot in my office. I've experienced it personally within myself, and I've experienced it with other people whom I love, being on the receiving end. So contempt really puts yourself above other people. I am morally superior. I know better, and you're just an idiot. So it is, oftentimes it comes across in a real silent way, but it can be an energy of an eye roll. It can be a death stare. It can be a tone of voice that is better than, and really lacks respect. So contempt is really about protecting oneself from feeling vulnerable, and oftentimes the deeper thing of feeling unappreciated. Um, and so when we can then shift our attention to focusing on appreciation of the other person, then we can start to shift that behavior of contempt, really recognizing that I am just like you. Also helps to bring that contempt, off the table, so to speak. The third way that we all have a tendency to use at some point or another is defensiveness. Well, I didn't clean up the dishes because you didn't buy the dish soap. Like, it's defensive. Like, I didn't do it because it's your fault, really. It's, making yourself sometimes the victim. Like, you know, you're always mean to me. That's why I can't be as softer to you. Like, it's your fault that I'm acting a certain way. Um, Maybe shifting. I'm looking at my notes, y'all. So, being dismissive of someone, like, you're kidding, right? Like, this is ridiculous. So there's all kinds of ways that we defend ourselves and deflect any responsibility. So the antidote is taking responsibility. What is my side of the street? What do I need to own? And what do I need to change within myself? Not what you need to do and what you need to change, which is often our focus when we are defensive. So, the fourth and final thing, and this is again really painful, and I have been on the giving end of this. I've also been on the receiving end, and both honestly are painful because they're disconnecting. Is stonewalling. So this is a tricky one, y'all. I went. I'm embarrassed to say. I went on an entire trip with my husband in our early marriage, and I was livid with him. And we had a young baby at the time. I think she was 3 or 4. And so, we didn't have we had to focus on her needs and trying to get there and all of this. And the entire way, I'm just looking out the window, my arms crossed. I'm not engaging him. And then he ended up having to do some work thing while he was there. So he'd be away during the day. I'd be kind and sweet to my girl, connecting. And then when he'd come back, I'd be cold. We would be cordial, but I was still, my energy was cold. This was my way of stonewalling. And I think it's how most people do it. Like, it's just like there's some sense of an energetic, literal energetic wall that protects us and keeps other people out and keeps ourselves isolated. So all of these are so painful. And so what's the antidote to stonewalling? It's actually, taking a break, in order to get yourself grounded and clear about, what is it that I need? What am I angry about? What is it that hurts so much? And then how do I get to that deeper peace with the person that I love most, usually, that I'm wanting to punish by stonewalling? So it's important to be aware of these four things because we all have the capacity for them. And how do I soften? How do I connect? How do I connect to myself in order to de escalate inside, in order to get clear about what's going on, to share what it is that I feel and what it is that I need? Because that's really all that it always boils down to. And then I can feel connected again. I can feel, like we're working together again, and and it leads to more flourishing, which is what we all long for.